Welcome to the Quick 10 podcast, brought to you by Quick Track, focusing on all things FedCon and cyber defense from different perspectives and different personalities, all in 10-ish minutes. Here's your host, Derek White.
Welcome back to another episode of the Quick 10 podcast, here in person, being recorded at CUI-CON 2026 in Orlando, Florida. Great event for the industry, nice ecosystem, chance to see people face to face, meet new people, newer relationships. I met my guest here not too long ago, and now we get to talk about what you guys do, and excited to have you share with our watchers and listeners, if people are watching this or listening to this, what you guys do. So I'm joined by Nick Marteney, Mother Bear CEO and co-founder. Thanks for stepping aside.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. And, we actually get this question a lot, so I'm going to just,
fire away.
Get right away.
Yes.
Everyone always asks us, are we a GRC platform? And I laugh and say, kind of, right? And people wonder, well, what do you mean by kind of? And I say that we came in and we saw what was going on with CMMC, the help that was needed, and we kind of recognized a little bit of a gap. And that is, there are a lot of vendors out there, yourselves included, who are providing really good offerings that are helping to cover a lot of the program, but none of the tooling that's out there actually is describing that relationship to how those tools fit into the broader picture, right? They're saying, write in how your organization's meeting 3.1.1 at a control level. It's really high level type of discussion, instead of saying, hey, something like, Quick Track or even Microsoft Intune, whatever it may be, and actually prescribing how does that help you, and then aggregating that together into the broader picture of your program. So we focus on that part of the puzzle, that little piece there, and really it just has become a great glue layer to your program. A lot of document storage, evidence collection, managing requirements and things like that. Very reminiscent. See why people think we're GRC.
Yeah, and
kind of are,
but you guys can also integrate with multiple different shapes, size, forms, smells, tastes of a contractor, right?
Yeah,
absolutely. And where they're at with multiple frameworks, single framework, big, small, medium, and you guys do integrations too, which with different products and services and such, which is well, in my opinion, should be required for anybody that's providing a service like yours. It is a GRC flavor, but helping the organization get organized and ready and make it clear and understanding, if I do it this way or I do it that way, how is that going to impact me and my team and my company, blah, blah, blah. So where do you see some of the biggest value from Mother Bear's tool and offering that you guys do, that you really kind of see a differentiator versus maybe what else is out there, even in a conversation where somebody is kind of, GRCing shopping, if you will?
Yeah, definitely. And I always say there's kind of two things that make us different. Like mission, really big, is that we only focus on CMMC. And so we're built around the little quirkiness that exists with CMMC, unlike other frameworks that people are used to coming from, where they're like, hey, I've worked with SOC 2 or ISO 27001. When you take those tools and pivot into CMMC, you're writing things at a control level. It doesn't give you the granularity that you need come assessment time, where you need to write to the assessment objective. That's the number one mistake we see from companies coming to us. So that mission is a big piece of it. The second part is that the way that our tool works is it allows for you to have a really nice way to tabletop, as it were, on how you want to build your program. And what I mean by that is, let's say you're considering two different vendors, right? Let's talk about, just say, endpoint management solutions. You can create two components in our system, two distinct components, say, here's how I want to use those two things, and put them in parallel to each other. You can kind of talk to your organization about what's going to be a better fit operationally. Your team can kind of break down what's going to be a better price point. But you can see how both those pieces are going to align to your overall compliance posture. That's going to make it a little easier to make that determining factor and buy it. And coincidentally, when people purchase tools that they might not need, it kind of elevates that exposure and says, hey, if this isn't a necessity for security, if it's not a necessity operationally, and you're covering maybe 3 or 4 requirements in the broad CMMC picture, you might be able to say, hey, can we use something else that we're already paying for to meet these requirements? And it's not always about the number of checkboxes, of course, but
and you can also help from clean slate state too. So
absolutely,
or maybe they're with something. The way they've been doing it for 5 years is X, and now they need to make it to Y, and so then you guys can help them. From what I remember from seeing the tool and what you guys walk through is, hey, it's great that we're here, but we have to make a change, and your tool helps them kind of, I think, make a better decision on not just coverage in checking boxes, but approach to data flows, workflows.
Yep.
And then if they think they need to go this way, then they could use your tool essentially to find out if that will actually work from a compliance standpoint.
Absolutely.
Right?
And one of the coolest things I think is in our tool, like let's say someone puts Cuick in there. You know, you guys have that broad CRM about, hey, what's the relationship between what we do, what you do? That can be, you know, put inside Mother Bear, and there's a generic shared responsibility matrix that's built. And it's super helpful for orgs because when they're planning, they can go down, they can say, hey, you know, I know that Cuick is got me covered here. I know that I have responsibilities here with these providers. And it's not just going to tell you, hey, it's you, a third party or a cloud service provider. It's going to tell you explicitly, you know, you, Microsoft, Cuick. It's going to give you the exact names that you're going to want to see and know your responsibility for it. Makes it a little easier to understand
for sure.
who needs to be involved. So.
I think it does a good job too of kind of identifying differences with tools and services.
Yep, definitely.
You know, we see a lot of this in the space where pick a logo, but this service, hey, we've had 150 clients pass using our tool.
Yep.
If it does like you said, does 5% of the compliance, like, well, what else are they doing?
Yep.
So if the old school way of some of these GRC tools that would have products and services was basically down to the assessment objective level, but it didn't really describe what that was. So maybe it's a file sharing tool, maybe it's an enclave, maybe it's a do-it-yourself setup of a SIEM or something where it's like, sure, it'll meet the requirement, but it's not responsible for the met part, right? It does its part, the customer does its part. So your details of shared versus product versus whatever, that I think really does, I think will do a really good job for people that are trying to figure out, do I want to go the enclave approach?
Yep.
And if I do, what do they offer versus the next one? If I want to keep it in-house, what is that going to do? And I think that's when the colors start to change on what's met, not met until I do certain things. So I think that tool you guys have is going to be, and already is, really great tool for people. Who do you know, where do you see people entering conversations with you the most? Is it through partners that are out there working with the OSCs and OSAs already? Are you guys finding yourselves getting traffic to you based on certain searches that maybe you're starting to see the market's changing a little bit on that front?
Yeah, we do a lot of direct, working directly with the defense contractor, but we have started standing up a partnership program, early phase, with companies that do consulting. We just put in beta a tool that we call Mother Bear Hive, and it's basically built for the consultant orgs. And essentially, what we found is that a lot of managed service providers or consultants have their policy decks, they have their technology implementation, so they can define those things inside of Hive, and then when they do engagements, they can push those things directly to them. We early on built something referred to as Marketplace inside our tool, and that component has evolved with this because a lot of companies out there, they recognize that, hey, there's a tool that meets blank number of requirements, but the orgs that are consulting know what they're actually going to use out of that. So they kind of build their own little proprietary strategy with it.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things, and we're just yapping out here at the exhibit hall, is that I think is a value. It's hard to demonstrate that because nobody wants to give away their approach, but being able to be someone who works with multiple organizations and actually understands what each organization needs versus trying to just fit them all into the one thing over and over again is, and I'll use us as an example here, but they know what they need with QuickTrack, great, but they can go work with this company over here with a different provider and kind of build out the way that they can put together a story of things that they've put together using your tool to be able to say, this is what another one's doing, and you guys are almost the same fit. But if you want to do it this way, these are the tools that we can show you and demonstrate on a coverage map, basically, on how it will go, and then you can start to factor in costs and time and resources. So I think that's a really cool avenue for you guys to dive into. But so then question, I guess, would stem from there is, can a service provider, say an MSP and a consulting group, and the customer all interact in the tool together?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's kind of the cool part about it is if we have a customer using Mother Bear today, if you're actually on our partner program, you have Mother Bear Hive instance, you can actually, working with them, request access to their environment. They would then be able to, in their environment, see the request, approve it, and then they would be able to manage your permissions as an external user, what you could see. So what's really cool is we have companies who we refer the work out because we don't do consulting when someone needs more help. And they're already on Mother Bear, and they have Mother Bear Hive, the group we referred them to, and they basically go in, request access, go in with read-only rights, and they can go and look at the program and get like instant snapshot of, okay, now I understand what you're using, I understand where you're at, I kind of see some pitfalls, and it takes this process they usually have to do where they have to go do some scoping, a gap analysis. It gives them a really quick picture on where they are. No, that's the ideal option. Not everyone is that far along. Some people are like really early and they go, hey, I need help. And
no, that's brilliant. I think that's the evolvement of the space. Different, obviously, than it was 5-6 years ago, where it was a glorified spreadsheet that ended up in a web-based tool, which is great, except for great for people who know what they're doing.
Yep.
And so being able to provide that extra guidance, extra ideas, kind of like the hive, have the nest kind of move around a little bit on what to do. I think that's great. I think that's awesome. Thank you for stepping aside. These are quick. These go fast.
No worries.
Where do you want to send people to learn more, connect with you, but also more about Mother Bear directly?
Yeah, so best place, go to our website, motherbearsecurity.com, and in the top corner, there's a book a demo button. Hit that. Our team loves showing the tool. Don't feel pressured. People say to us all the time, hey, what if we're not a buyer? That's okay. We ask everyone, come and look at the tool. It's good to know what's out there, to understand the resources available to you. So best way is right on the website.
And I can say that that's true, because your guys' demonstration was great the first time I saw it. Highly recommend you do that. Thank you, Nick, for being here. Excited to see where things go. And then next time we're at an event together, we'll do it again and we'll talk about what's updated.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, man.
That's good. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to this episode, and make sure to subscribe to the Cuick 10 podcast wherever you get your podcasts. For more information about Cuick Track, visit our website at www.cuicktrack.com.